having a white food party. So let's get started.
One of the most popular claims for astrology is that it can guide you through your love life. Every day, hundreds of copies of books on this aspect of astrology alone are sold. Please welcome my final guest, the author of books such as Love Lives and the Seductive Art of Astrology, Carol Golder. Carol, are some pairs of star signs more compatible than others?
Yes, I think they definitely are, even in sun sign astrology, which in fact is all we've got time to do here tonight. But yes, they are.
Carol has kindly agreed to do a demonstration for us tonight. We scoured blissfully married couples, and despite the odds, we found them, and here they are. Well, what we have here is one man from each of the 12 astrological signs, accompanied by his better half. Now, do you think the person in this photo is living or dead? Our last guest tonight believes that by looking at a photograph, she can tell us something about the person in that photo, including whether or not that person is alive or dead. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome Agnes Simon. Agnes, earlier in the day, we gave you 5 photographs. They're smaller versions of the ones we now have behind us. Choosing the photograph was a difficult task. We tried to ensure that as few clues as possible remained. Surroundings, clothing, hairstyle may all give a clue as to the age of the photograph. And thus, the likelihood as to whether or not the person is living or dead might be given away. I believe you used a pendulum to divine whether or not each person is living or dead?
Correct, yes.
Now, how does that work?
If the person is alive, the pendulum is turning usually right. If the person is dead, either it's not turning at all, or I don't get any kind of reading on the person.
So it's whether or not
on the aura.
I see. Now, Agnes has told us that if she is successful tonight, she would like to go on to a second test, independently supervised, to claim the $10,000 that I have offered for many years to anyone who can produce psychic phenomena under controlled conditions. Is that right, Agnes?
That's right.
All right. Well, first things first. Let's see how well you'll do with just 5 photographs. Now, there are tough odds against getting all 5 correct. This first photograph, what do you make of this lady?
What I made out of this lady is, I got the name,
We visited the privately funded Metaphysical and Psychic Research Center in Berkshire, whose principal, Norman Knight, has been involved in psychic research for over 30 years.
The center was founded in 1973. It was founded because we found that there was a lot wanting as far as psychic and spiritual healing was concerned. And this is why we involved ourselves with research and investigation into this phenomenon. The ultimate goal, of course, is to bring some tangible substance to this intangible subject. Most of this equipment here came through times when I was in deep contemplation. This particular object is our table that we levitate. It moves around the room under certain circumstances, of course.
Where are we going?
There you go.
Yeah.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome my guest, Norman Knight. Now, you brought along a very interesting piece of equipment here. You say it can be used as a lie detector, but further than that, you say it can also in some way detect thought.
That's completely true.
I see. Well, let's see how it works, shall we?
Surely. We have on the top here a dial which is recording microvolts. And at the moment, this particular person, my friend here, is producing 1 microvolts. During the course of thought transmission, this particular pointer moves across the dial. But I've got to set it first to his metabolism. Hopefully, what I want to try to prove is that thought can be transmitted from one person to another.
And detected by this machine.
And it's detected by this machine.
I see. Well, this machine has its own internal power supply, and it's connected to your colleague, Mr. Ron Turner. Are you connected, Ron?
I am, thank you.
I'm glad to know a man who feels well connected. Norman, would you please tune the machine for us now?
Surely. Right, we're somewhere near ready now.
So, Norman, I understand that this also involves your wife, Norma, who is in our audience. And I understand that Norma is going to send pleasant thoughts over to Ron, and that the machine will pick up the thoughts as Ron receives them. Is that correct?
That's correct, but I would say at this point it's not pleasant thoughts, it's healing thoughts.
Ah, I see. All right, I stand corrected. Now, Ron, how can we tell when you are receiving Norma's thoughts? How will that be evident?
It'll be evident because the dial will show a rise, and also there will be a rise in the sound.
I'll signal you like this. Okay, that's the official signal. And you will signal Norma to start sending thoughts. Okay, Norman?
That's quite all right, but one other thing, before we do that, what I'd like other people to do is not think or try to send thoughts to the sitter here, if that is possible.
Okay.
Because they can interfere with the transmissions.
Very good.
Can I readjust? Because
I
he's
think you
received-
better, yes, if you want to.
The $6 Your Way deal at Burger King is a triple win. Your choice of a bacon double cheeseburger or a rodeo double cheeseburger.
Now, the eternal question, is there life after death? Tonight, we'll be meeting people who say they can look back into the past, reach into the future, and move between life and death. First, is this a picture of a dear departed soul? We begin our quest with a lady who sketches what she believes to be portraits of spirit people. And these are examples of her work. Please welcome my first guest, Coral Pole. So much of the information we get from astrology is fairly general and subjective, yet increasingly business people consult astrologers for guidance in their financial affairs. In France, 10% of companies now take astrological advice on everything from takeovers to stock market flotations. To examine the use of astrology in the world of finance, we set up a test to pit the skills of a financial astrologer against those of a city analyst. We gave them 5 weeks to play the market and see who came out best. The referee was the marketing director of financial bookmakers IG Index. Please welcome Tracy Moorshead. Some psychics go so far as to offer help to the police. In order to see how useful this is, we prepared an experiment using this collection of instruments which might have been used to commit crimes. And then again, they might not. Is it possible for a psychic to read the history of an instrument? It seems that you can do a lot of reading about writing. Any bookstore or library today offers a great selection. We've heard many opinions, both for and against, in this vital area of dowsing for good and bad places to live and work. If life and death decisions are also to be based on the results of dowsing, surely we should try to establish once and for all whether it works reliably. It's a very seductive idea. It would be wonderful to believe that everything from your bank balance to an international war was really influenced by the planets. My first guest is an astrologer whose work is read by millions of people in Britain every day. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jonathan Kainer. Tell me, Jonathan, who do you write for?
I write for Today newspaper in this country, Today newspaper, Woman magazine, Mirabella, and Living.
I have a question for you. You know, are we really supposed to believe that everything you write for, say, a Capricorn is going to happen to 1/12 of the total population of the world that next day?
Well, let me ask you something, James. Something on the other side of the Atlantic. Say that Canadians and Americans have different characteristics.
Yes, they do.
So up to a point, there are
Bye, guys. Thanks for
very
watching. 안녕.